Jason Statham, the name alone conjures up images of an indestructible action hero. He's the man who defied odds and conquered the silver screen. Over $8 billion at the global box office, stars in The Fast and Furious, The Expendables, Crank, and The Transporter, the guy who takes on impossible challenges, sharks, explosions, and bad guys without breaking a sweat. But what if I told you that the real Jason Statham isn't who you think he is? Beneath that tough, steel-jawed exterior lies a story that will leave you speechless. A story not of fame, fortune, or privilege, but of survival, failure, and unimaginable resilience. Get ready, because what you're about to hear will completely change how you see Jason Statham. But hold on, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Jason's journey didn't start on a red carpet or behind the wheel of $1 million car. It started on the gritty streets of Sherbrooke, Derbyshire, England. On July 26, 1967, born to a mother who was a professional dancer and a father, Barry, who sold counterfeit goods on the street, Jason's early years were marked by struggle. Before moving forward, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for daily updates. Can you imagine growing up where every day felt like a fight, where your father was trying to make ends meet, selling fake jewelry, watches, and perfume? Jason had to learn fast that life wasn't about luxury. It was about hustling, surviving, and never letting the world know how hard things were. At just 14, Jason was already by his father's side, selling fake watches to busy pedestrians. While other kids were talking about their holidays or playing games, Jason was counting coins from selling knockoff goods. Tell me in the comments, what were you doing at 14 years old? This was a life of embarrassment and humiliation. But in the streets, he learned the most valuable lesson of all: survival meant never stopping, no matter how low it made you feel. At 15, something unexpected happened. Jason discovered martial arts, a discipline that gave him order when everything else was chaos. Kickboxing, Chinese kung fu, karate. He dove headfirst into it all, finding solace in the discipline that martial arts provided. But diving was where things took a major turn. By 15, Jason found his natural gift in diving. It wasn't just about falling into water. It was about falling gracefully, fearlessly, with a body built for speed and agility. He joined the British National Diving Squad. For 12 years, Jason's world revolved around one goal: the Olympics. Can you imagine dedicating your whole life to a dream, sacrificing everything and still falling short? But that's exactly what happened. Jason trained like a machine, day after day. Hours spent perfecting his dives, working on his technique, pushing through the pain. He even represented England at the Commonwealth Games in 1990, finishing 12th at the World Championships in 1992. But it wasn't enough. The Olympic dream one he had worked for sacrificed slipped through his fingers. Jason would later admit that the sting of that failure never truly left him. He carried it in his chest like a weight, a reminder of how close he had come and how far away it felt now. Imagine that. Chasing a dream for more than a decade and watching it fade away. But Jason didn't let that be the end of the story. With diving no longer an option, Jason did what he knew best: street selling. But life had other plans for him. His physique, his discipline, his unrelenting focus, these caught the eye of a modeling agent while Jason was training. Soon, he was being signed by top brands: Tommy Hilfiger, Levi's, French Connection. But here's the kicker. Even while he was on magazine covers and walking the catwalk, Jason was still selling fake jewelry on the streets. The world saw him as a model, but Jason was still trapped in his past, hustling to make ends meet. Imagine that. The man who would go on to become a global action star was still peddling fake jewelry just to make ends meet. Talk about living to lives. And then, in 1997, everything changed. In 1997, while working for French Connection, Jason met a young filmmaker named Guy Ritchie. Ritchie had heard about Jason's raw, authentic background to his life on the streets. Saw potential, he asked Jason to audition for a role in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Jason didn't need to act. He didn't have to pretend to be someone he wasn't. All he had to do was step into the shoes of the character, a streetwise hustler, and that's exactly what he did. The film became a massive hit, grossing over $80 million worldwide. Jason went from being an unknown model to Hollywood's next big thing, but success didn't come without its challenges. 2 years after Lock, Stock Jason was cast again, this time in Snatch, alongside Brad Pitt. But here's the truth. While the world was watching Jason rise, his personal life was unraveling. He was dating model Kelly Brook. But as Jason's fame grew, his relationship began to suffer. Kelly had put her career on hold for Jason, but as his career soared, she felt neglected. Pushed aside, in 2004, Kelly ended their 7-year relationship, leaving Jason devastated. He couldn't understand it. He was a movie star now, a millionaire. Kelly's response was piercing. "You weren't there for me." That heartbreak fueled Jason's work, and soon, the transporter came into his life, changing everything. But even with fame and fortune, his personal life remained a casualty of his relentless pursuit of success. As Jason's career flourished, he went on to star in Crank: Death Race, The Expendables, and more. But here's where the real cost of being an action star comes into play. Jason performed most of his own stunts, pushing his body beyond the limits, breaking bones, getting concussions. His body was taking the brunt of the punishment. And then came the near-death experience that almost ended his career for good. It was during the filming of The Expendables 3 in Bulgaria that Jason faced what could have been his final stunt. A routine test run. Jason was supposed to slam on the brakes of a flatbed truck, but the brakes failed. The truck went off the dock and plunged 60 feet into the Black Sea with Jason still inside. Can you imagine that? Trapped in a sinking truck? The water rising around him with no way out. For a moment, Jason thought it was the end. But Jason's survival wasn't just luck, it was his years of diving experience that saved him. Using the same skills he had honed as a diver, Jason freed himself from the wreckage and swam to safety. It was a miracle by 58. Jason's body was a battlefield. His ribs were shattered, his joints broken, and his body a constant reminder of the price he paid for stardom. But even as the pain grew, Jason refused to stop. He continued working, filming, and making millions. But here's the twist: despite all the fame and success, Jason's real victory wasn't in the movies he made or the cars he drove. It was in his resilience, in the way he fought every day to keep going, even when his body was falling apart. Jason's life isn't just defined by his stunts or his wealth. It's defined by his ability to keep going, even when everything around him tells him to quit. He found peace with Rosie Huntington Whiteley, and together, they built a family. In 2017, their son Jack Oscar was born, followed by their daughter Isabella. In 22, Dot, the boy who once sold fake perfume on the streets of London, now teaches his children how to swim. The man who nearly drowned in the Black Sea now enjoys the simple things and a life that's richer than any trophy or film role. Jason Statham's story is one of resilience, failure, and ultimate triumph. From the streets of London to the Black Sea and beyond, he has lived a life full of twists and turns, each more gripping than the last. His story proves that no matter where you start or how many times you fall, it's the will to keep going that makes all the difference. Jason's life teaches us that dreams don't die, they transform. And no matter how many times life knocks you down, there's always a way to get back up. If Jason's story inspired you, hit that like button and leave a tribute in the comments for this true action hero. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for more untold stories of Hollywood's biggest stars. And remember, when life pushes you to your limits, just keep swimming, because your greatest victory might be just around the corner. Jason's story isn't just for movie lovers. It's for anyone who's ever faced adversity and kept fighting. If you ever thought about giving up, remember Jason, keep pushing, keep fighting, because sometimes the greatest victory is simply coming up for air.